Hi, my name is Trishna, and this is my first YouTube video, so hi to everyone. A little bit of background on me. I did my MBA in finance, and then after that I worked for about a year and 8 months in a Big Four consulting firm, and I now work in the industry doing procurement. So when I was in the consulting, lifestyle, when I first started I was very naive. In college, people just like you and hang out with you, or if they don't like you, they don't hang out with you, and there really isn't a lot of politics that go on. But when you reach the working world, there are many people. They're all competing for the same spots, and people do like you still, but it's more on a surface level, and at the end of the day, everybody's competing for that promotion. And whereas in college, 5, 10, 20 people in a class could get an A. In the working world, only one person can get that A, and there is still like 50 of you. Only one person can get that promotion. So it becomes very competitive, and that's not to say that people in college aren't competitive, because I definitely was, and even when I was in the consulting world I was very competitive, still am, but the competition and the playing field is very different, and so it can really catch you off guard. So I've put together a book that basically outlines several situations that I faced when I was in consulting that I kind of had to learn the hard way on how to deal with. And, Google was definitely a good resource. I Googled, how to deal with the situation, how to deal with that situation. Some cases I found articles, some cases I didn't, and had to figure it out for myself. In cases where I did find articles, they're great ideas, but a lot of times there aren't examples on how somebody applied that situation. So, there's the idea and you understand the idea, but you don't really know how to apply it to your situation. And then, you try different things, you still get some things wrong, and then when you look back, you're like, oh, I get it now. I get when people say you need to provide value, I get what that means now. But until you go through it, you don't really know what it means, because you haven't experienced it yourself, and you haven't been given an example of how somebody else has experienced it. So my book really aims to, showcase the experience that I had, and give you techniques on how to deal with different situations, and how I apply that to my situation, so you can tweak it and apply it to your situation. And there are a lot of ideas in there that you'll pick up that I think will be really helpful, that will seriously, I wish I had known a lot of this stuff when I first started, because I would have been a wower. And so, if you read my book, there'll be a lot of little ideas in there that, you wouldn't have thought of, because you haven't been in the working world, so you don't have the experience. That will really, set you apart from everybody else. So chapters in my book, some include, how do you set yourself apart from yourself? How do you shine when, there are 50 of you all competing for that A, that promotion? How do you make sure you're the one that gets that promotion? So, really that comes to getting noticed, and really kind of standing out, so I provide techniques on how to do that. I have a chapter on how to pick your mentor, because that's something that Big Four consulting firms are really big on, but how do you really pick the right one that will, set off your career, and how do you make sure you don't pick the wrong one? So I have that, and that is a really big part of consulting, because a mentor can seriously, they can make your career if you pick the right one. What do you do if you make a mistake? You can say sorry, you can say you won't do it again, and people will forgive you, but how do you really make an impact and turn that mistake into a way that actually makes you shine in the end? That makes you look like the hero. You're the one that made the mistake, but now you're the hero. So that's a very nice skill to have, and I show you how to do that in my book. My book will be out on Kindle in June of 2012. So look for that. But in the meantime, I wanted to start creating videos, because I know that there are a lot of college students that will be graduating in May and entering the working world. There are a lot of college students that graduated, in 2011 in May, and that have started working, in consulting firms or in the industry, that have encountered situations and that may have been lost, and are having to figure things out the hard way that my book can really help. But since that's coming out in June, I wanted to kind of start some of these videos that can, you know, help kickstart and help you out with some of your situations. So keep that in mind. And if you have any situations that you're currently dealing with that you would like a video on, something quick that I can give you guys, let me know and I will create a video for you that will address that. A key thing to know about my book is that really the target market is more for new college grads that are entering a Big Four consulting firm. It is helpful to new college grads that are entering the working world in general, but you know, now that I've worked in industry and consulting, I do see, you know, I do think that it's really more valuable for somebody that's in the consulting world. But I mean, if you're brand new, then I'm sure there'll be, you know, things in there that you wouldn't have thought of that can help you. And if you have kind of a consultant mindset going into the industry, that really sets you apart because you think like a problem solver, and that's really big in the industry because from my experience things are a little bit slower and people spend more time talking than solving. So that'll be kind of a key for you, but it is really geared more towards new college grad that's in a consulting firm. New consultants that aren't college grads can also get benefit from it, and it would probably be good for them because I do have like some more hard techniques in there, like how to create a slide, because when you create, the biggest thing in consulting is creating a PowerPoint deck, and they have specific formats that they like, and I basically outline how to do that. I outline the jargon that's used, I outline like what it means to be successful in consulting, like what are the things that matter, which is selling more work, but how do you do that, and what are the other things that are, you know, really important that you can work on before you get to the level where you can start selling work. But just keep in mind that when I was writing this, I was a new college grad that was having their first job in a Big Four consulting firm. So it's kind of the mindset that I wrote it from. But other than that, just let me know if you have any videos you'd like me to make, any questions that you'd like me to answer, and I'd be happy to do that. And look for my book, June 2012. I'll keep you guys updated on that status. It'll probably be on Kindle. So thanks for listening, and I'll be back soon.